Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to explore two interesting coins from Canada that many collectors still search for today. The Canadian 1-cent coin 1967 and the 1992 Canadian 1-cent coin. At first glance, these coins may look like ordinary copper pennies, but they carry history, beautiful designs, and sometimes surprising collector value. Many coin collectors around the world enjoy studying Canadian coins because of their detailed artwork and the historical stories behind them. If you have old coins at home or enjoy searching through coin jars, these two pennies are definitely worth learning about because certain examples in excellent condition can attract serious attention from collectors. The 1967 Canadian 1-cent coin is one of the most famous pennies ever issued in Canada. It was released to celebrate the Canadian Centennial, which marked 100 years since Canada became a confederation in 1867. Because this was such an important national celebration, the Royal Canadian Mint decided to create special commemorative designs for several coins that year. Instead of the traditional maple leaf design normally found on Canadian pennies, the reverse of the 1967 coin features a graceful flying dove. This beautiful design symbolized peace, unity, and hope for the future of the country. The artwork was created by the well-known Canadian painter Alex Colville, whose work became one of the most recognized coin designs in Canadian history. On the front side, or obverse, the coin displays the portrait of Elizabeth II, who was the reigning monarch of Canada at the time. The portrait shows the young queen wearing a laurel wreath, a design used on many Canadian coins during that era. Around the portrait, you will see the inscription identifying Queen Elizabeth II as the monarch. The coin itself was struck mainly in bronze, giving it the rich reddish-brown color that many collectors love. Millions of these coins were produced in 1967 because they were intended for circulation during the centennial celebrations. Even though the mintage was large, collectors today still search for examples that are in brilliant uncirculated condition with original red color and sharp details. When it comes to value, most 1967 Canadian pennies are not extremely rare, but they still hold collector interest because of the unique design and historical significance. Coins that have been heavily circulated may only be worth a small premium over face value. However, coins that remain in mint state condition, meaning they show almost no wear, can be worth significantly more. Some collectors pay higher prices for coins with strong luster and full red color because copper coins often darken over time. In very high grades, professionally graded examples can sometimes sell for impressive amounts at auctions, especially when the coin is nearly perfect. This is why many collectors carefully check their coin collections and coin rolls, looking for a well-preserved 1967 centennial penny. Now let's move forward 25 years to the 1992 Canadian 1-cent coin, another coin that collectors frequently examine. By this time, the design of the Canadian penny had returned to its traditional style. The reverse side once again shows the classic image of two maple leaves attached to a single stem, a design that has represented Canada's national symbol for many decades. Above the leaves appears the word Canada, while below the design you can see the value 1 cent along with the year 1992. The maple leaf design is simple but iconic, making it one of the most recognizable coin images in Canadian currency history. The obverse of the 1992 penny again features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, although by this time the portrait style had been updated compared to the earlier 1967 coin. These coins were struck in very large quantities because pennies were still widely used in everyday transactions. Because of the high mintage, most 1992 pennies are common and can still be found in circulation or old coin collections. However, collectors are always interested in coins that are preserved in perfect condition. A shiny, uncirculated coin that still shows strong mint luster can be far more desirable than a worn example that has spent years in circulation inflation. These two coins show how even the smallest denominations can tell fascinating stories about a country's history and culture. The 1967 Canadian penny reminds us of a major national celebration and features a unique artistic design that stands out among Canadian coins. Meanwhile, the 1992 penny continues the long tradition of the maple leaf symbol, representing Canada's identity and heritage. For coin collectors, studying these coins is not just about money, it is also about history, art, and the excitement of discovering something special.
Next up, we are talking about another interesting coin from Canada, the Canadian 1-cent coin, 1987 Canadian 1-cent coin. At first glance, this small copper coin might look very common, but for coin collectors, every detail matters. The year, the condition, and even small minting differences can make a coin more desirable. The Canadian penny was used in everyday transactions for many decades before it was officially discontinued in 2012. So coins like the 1987 penny represent an important part of Canada's monetary history. The 1987 Canadian penny features the familiar and iconic maple leaf design that has appeared on many Canadian 1-cent coins. On the reverse side of the coin, you can see two maple leaves attached to a single stem, along with the words Canada at the top and 1 cent at the bottom. The maple leaf has long been one of Canada's most recognized national symbols, representing the country's natural beauty and national identity. This classic design was originally created by Canadian artist G.E. Kruger Gray, whose work appeared on several coins used throughout the British Commonwealth. On the obverse side of the 1987 Canadian 1-cent coin, you will see the portrait of Elizabeth II, who served as Canada's monarch for many decades. By 1987, the coin used the later portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, showing a more mature representation of the Queen compared to earlier coins. Around the portrait, the inscription includes her name and royal title. This portrait style appeared on many Canadian coins during the 1980s and early 1990s. The coin itself was primarily made of bronze during that time, giving it the classic reddish-brown copper appearance that collectors often look for. Millions of these coins were produced in 1987 because pennies were still widely used in daily transactions, such as shopping and vending machines. Because the mintage was quite high, the 1987 penny is generally considered a common coin. However, collectors are always interested in coins that are preserved in excellent condition. When it comes to value, most 1987 Canadian 1-cent coins that have been heavily circulated are usually worth only a small amount above face value. However, coins that remain in uncirculated condition, meaning they still show strong mint luster and very little wear, can sometimes be worth several dollars to collectors. High-grade coins that are professionally graded and stored properly may attract even higher prices, especially if the coin retains its original red color. Copper coins often darken over time, so bright red examples are considered more desirable. For coin collectors, finding a well-preserved 1987 Canadian penny can still be exciting. Many collectors search through old coin rolls, collections, or jars of loose change, hoping to find coins that are in near-perfect condition. Even though the coin may seem ordinary, its value can increase depending on its grade and collector demand. Next up, we are going to talk about another interesting coin from Canada, the Canadian 1-cent coin, 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin. Even though it is a small coin with a very low face value, it still carries history and importance for collectors. Many people overlook these pennies because they were very common in circulation, but coin collectors know that even ordinary coins can become valuable depending on their condition, rarity, and collector demand. The 1998 Canadian penny features the classic reverse design that has been used on many Canadian 1-cent coins for decades. On the back of the coin, you can see the famous two maple leaves attached to a single stem. Above the design appears the word Canada, while below the leaves you will see the denomination 1 cent, along with the year 1998. The maple leaf is one of the most recognizable national symbols of Canada and represents the country's natural beauty and identity. This elegant design was originally created by the well-known coin designer G.E. Kruger Gray, whose artwork appeared on several coins across the Commonwealth. On the front side of the 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin, you will see the portrait of Elizabeth II, who was the monarch of Canada at the time. By the late 1990s, Canadian coins used a more mature portrait of Queen Elizabeth II compared with earlier designs from the 1960s and 1970s. Around the portrait, you will see the inscription of her name and royal title. This portrait remained on Canadian coins for many years and became familiar to millions of people who use these coins in everyday transactions. The 1998 penny was produced by the Royal Canadian Mint, which has been responsible for manufacturing Canada's coins for more than a century. During the late 1990s, pennies were still widely used in daily commerce, so the Mint produced millions of them each year. Because of this high mintage, the 1998 1-cent coin is generally considered a common coin in circulated condition. Many of these coins were used in stores, vending machines, and daily purchases, which means most examples show signs of wear. In terms of value, most circulated 1998 Canadian pennies are worth only a small amount above their face value. However, collectors always look for coins that are in exceptional condition. A coin that has never been circulated and still has bright red color and strong mint luster can be worth more to collectors. Some uncirculated examples may sell for a few dollars, especially if they are professionally graded with a high mint state grade. Copper coins often lose their bright color over time, so coins that remain in original red condition are considered more desirable. Another reason collectors examine coins like the 1998 Canadian penny is to look for possible minting errors or unusual varieties. Occasionally, coins can be struck with small errors during the minting process, such as off-center strikes, double images, or unusual surfaces. These types of coins can sometimes be much more valuable than normal coins because collectors enjoy owning rare mint errors. In conclusion, the 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin may seem like a simple and common piece of currency, but it still represents an important part of Canada's monetary history. With its classic maple leaf design and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, it reflects the traditional style of Canadian coinage that collectors appreciate today. Even though most examples are common, coins in high-grade condition or with unique minting characteristics can still attract attention in the coin collecting world. Last one, we are going to explore another interesting coin from Canada, the Canadian 1-cent coin. 2000 Canadian 1-cent coin. At first glance, this small copper coin might seem very ordinary, but for coin collectors, every detail matters. The year of the coin, its design, and especially its condition can make a big difference in collector interest and value. Even though the penny had a face value of only 1 cent, it remained an important part of Canada's currency system for many years before the country eventually stopped producing pennies in 2012. The 2000 Canadian penny features the classic maple leaf design that had been used on Canadian 1-cent coins for many decades. On the reverse side of the coin, you will see 2 maple leaves attached to a single stem, along with the word Canada above the design and the denomination 1 cent below it. The maple leaf is one of the most recognized national symbols of Canada and has appeared on Canadian coins for generations. This beautiful and simple design was created by coin designer G.E. Kruger Gray, whose work influenced many coins throughout the British Commonwealth. Because of its elegance and strong national symbolism, the maple leaf design became one of the most iconic images in Canadian coinage. On the obverse side of the 2000 Canadian 1-cent coin, you will see the portrait of Elizabeth II, who served as Canada's monarch for many decades. By the year 2000, Canadian coins displayed a mature portrait of Queen Elizabeth II that had been introduced in the 1990s. Around the portrait appears the Latin inscription identifying her royal title. This portrait became familiar to millions of Canadians who use these coins in daily transactions such as shopping, vending machines, and small purchases. The coin itself was produced by the Royal Canadian Mint, which is responsible for producing Canada's circulation coins as well as collectible and commemorative coins. By the year 2000, the composition of the Canadian penny had changed compared to earlier decades. Instead of being made entirely of bronze like older pennies, many modern pennies were produced using a steel core plated with copper. This allowed the mint to reduce production costs while still keeping the familiar copper appearance that people recognized. In terms of mintage, the 2000 Canadian 1-cent coin was produced in very large numbers because pennies were still widely used at that time. Because of this high production, most 2000 pennies found in circulation today are considered common. Many of them were used for years in everyday transactions, which means they often show signs of wear, such as scratches, dull color, or worn details. However, collectors always search for coins that are preserved in excellent condition. The value of a 2000 Canadian penny usually depends on its condition. Circulated coins are generally worth only a few cents about face value. However, coins that remain in uncirculated condition, meaning they were never used in circulation and still show bright copper color and strong mint luster, can sometimes be worth several dollars to collectors. If a coin is professionally graded and receives a very high mint state grade, its value can increase even more among collectors who want the best quality examples for their collections. Another reason collectors carefully examine coins like the 2000 Canadian penny is the possibility of mint errors. During the minting process, small mistakes can sometimes occur, such as off-center strikes, double images, or unusual metal surfaces. These types of error coins are often much rarer than normal coins, and collectors are willing to pay higher prices to obtain them. Because of this, many coin enthusiasts search through old coin rolls or jars, hoping to discover an unusual or valuable example. In conclusion, the 2000 Canadian 1-cent coin may look simple, but it represents an important part of Canada's modern coinage history. With its classic maple leaf design and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, it continues the long tradition of Canadian pennies that were used by millions of people for everyday purchases. Even though most examples are common, coins in exceptional condition or with minting errors can still attract attention from collectors. So, the next time you find an old Canadian penny in your coin jar or collection, take a closer look at the year and its condition. You never know, a small coin like this might hold more value than you expect. If you enjoyed learning about this coin, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another video about rare and valuable coins. Thank you for watching, and happy coin collecting!